you can have more than one VA loan at one time. And you certainly can use your VA benefits more than one time. There's a lot of these misnomers. You don't need a big down payment. You don't need a perfect credit score. You don't need 2 years on the job necessarily. Like there's so many things that are misconceptions are false. So welcome to Loans Elevated, the podcast that brings you the latest industry news, expert interviews, and insightful discussions that will help you stay ahead in this dynamic market. I'm your host, Brock Lassick, and I've spent years in the trenches of the mortgage industry, helping individuals and businesses navigate the complex landscape of real estate financing.
I'm your co-host, TJ Heidenreich, and together we'll cover a wide range of topics, from business strategies that skyrocket your success to mindset and motivation that fuel your growth. All right, welcome back to another episode of Loans Elevated, and we're officially in November, and with November comes Veterans Month.
100%.
So our VA program is actually really good. And a lot of people don't take advantage of that or have the knowledge of what a VA loan actually entails. You want to dive into our specific program, what people can take advantage of, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, let's dive in. And I think just like to add to what you said, there are so many misconceptions about home buying just in general. First-time home buyers, step-up home buyers, and that's even amplified with VA. But the crazy thing is this is a program that provides access to homeownership for veterans beyond any other loan program that exists in our nation. So it's something that is very significant to us. We're proud to provide some incentives to veterans, which we'll talk about as our way of giving back, because we do truly honor veterans in our nation, something near and dear to our hearts for sure. What we want to encourage is just look into your options. Don't think you know what the deal is. For example, you can have more than one VA loan at one time. And you certainly can use your VA benefits more than one time. There's a lot of these misnomers. You don't need a big down payment. You don't need a perfect credit score. You don't need 2 years on the job necessarily. Like there's so many things that are misconceptions are false. So I would say, first and foremost, recognize that. Know that you're in good hands with us. As a veteran, we want to take care of you, and we do. And lean on us for just the insight of what is truly possible for you, because it could be very meaningful to you and your financial future. So let's dive in. I think the thing that I kind of alluded to a moment ago, which I am really excited about. Years ago, I made the decision in our branch that we were waiving all lender fees for veterans. So we don't charge an underwriting fee, a processing fee, an origination fee. We don't charge any of that stuff for veteran. All of it is waived. So that's a powerful benefit right there.
The only loan cost you would see is if you chose to buy down the interest rate.
Correct.
That's the only thing that would be on the
You choose to buy down the interest rate, you got to pay an appraisal fee, and you got to pay title fees. It's very, very insignificant, really. So that's something powerful. Outside of that, we have on a VA loan, this is crazy, and this isn't for every lender, but here at Cross Country and with our team, there are really no clearly defined limits to your ability to qualify on a VA loan. So some examples, and I want to kind of back this up by saying we do not condone reckless financial decision making.
Right.
That's not what we're saying here. But there are strategic financial decisions that are more enabled through VA financing. An example of this, we had a client, multiple clients now over the past probably year, right? We've had these clients. They have closed with between 60 and 90% debt to income ratios. Most people are nope, can't exceed whatever percent it is on debt to income ratio. That's totally wrong on VA. And what they pay more attention to is a thing called residual income. And frankly, I think it's the best underwriting strategy that exists, but it's something that really enables more options for people, and there's strategies we can place into this. So another thing, don't get confused in thinking because one lender told you that you can't qualify, that you actually can't, because there's many lenders, especially with VA, one, they don't know what they're talking about, and two, their companies may have overlaying guidelines that restrict your ability to qualify that we don't have.
Well, and also, you've got increased loan limits. There's no loan limit essentially on a VA loan.
We did a $2.4 million VA loan.
I've got a $1.8 million pre-approval out right now with a VA borrower
and shopping. Zero down payment. Zero down payment on a multi-million dollar property.
If you look at the other way, you'd probably go in jumbo loan, and they oftentimes require a lot larger down payment, and terms are nowhere near the same.
Certainly a lot larger down payment. Minimum 10% down. And it is wildly expensive. VA is one of, if not the cheapest
Not
loan.
to mention it's with a private investor, and that investor,
Jumbo loans are with a private investor.
Yeah, exactly. And they have overlays and more tricky guidelines that more hoops you have to jump through as when you're trying to get a loan through.
And big limitations, like debt to income ratio, for example. 43% is very common on Jumbo.
Yep. And this pre-approval I have, he's at 65% debt to income. And he's still comfortable with the payment. Like I said, he's not reckless.
And they can afford it. His family can afford it. There's other income in the household that's just not being considered.
Yep, exactly.
So there's strategy.
The residual
going on
still
here,
checks out too.
Yeah, it's big. So dive into the seller concessions, because this is another way cool factor about VA.
And this is we weren't able to take advantage of this in previous markets, but right now, when we can negotiate with sellers, we can get up to 4% seller concessions to go towards closing costs, the rate buy down, but the most importantly, you can actually use the seller concessions to pay off debt. It's the only loan program which you can do that. So I just closed on a borrower last month who, when we initially got him pre-approved, because we didn't pre-approve him banking on seller concessions, but at the time of the closing table, he got cash back to be completely debt-free.
Wow.
Yeah, he paid over $20,000 in debt off. All of his auto loans.
That is crazy. Yeah. And you think about the prices of homes today, like, buy a $750,000 or $750,000 or $1 million house, you get 4% in concessions. On $1 million house, that's $40,000. Closing costs are not. I mean, hell, if you're not buying the rate down, which it's a whole different discussion and something we would talk to you about. But we're not a big fan of rate buy downs right now. At least permanent, temporary rate buy downs are big. Right. You can do that on VA, but if you're not buying the rate down, the closing costs on a VA loan, even on $1 million house, are probably like $4,500 max.
Yeah.
Because we don't charge you anything, which is very rare. Most lenders charge an origination fee on VA loans, and that's a lot. Like on $1 million mortgage, that origination fee itself can be $10,000 to $15,000 or more.
Yeah.
So
it's usually a percentage.
Yeah, a percentage of your loan amount, like 1 to 1.5 points most of the time that we see. But in that scenario, say you've got, let's say $5,000 in closing costs, or I guess with prepaids, maybe you got $6,000 in closing costs.
Depending on taxes and insurances.
You got $40,000 negotiated. So like TJ was saying, that in that scenario, you could pay $34,000 of the veteran's debt off at closing with the seller's money.
Yeah.
And
it's better to go down paying off the debt rather than using it for an interest rate buy down, because the debt that he was paying off is actually a higher rate than what the rate buy down would have been. So it's being smarter with his money. And we game plan for refinance later down the road too, knowing he will refinance in a couple of years.
Which even on a refi, we still also cover those fees for veterans and for everybody. Right now we have an incentive.
And you can streamline the refinance. Refinances on VAs are really easy.
It's so easy. There's no appraisal. There's no credit qualifying. There's virtually no qualifying. It is wild, and you just get a lower rate. Also heavily discounted fees. So anyway, clearly we are major fans of VA financing. And we honor our veterans. We would love to pour into any veteran that would give us the time of day to help guide them through what is available to them. We'd love the opportunity. I think there's some unique incentives we as a company, as a team, and as a team offer veterans for financing. So if you are a veteran, or if you know a veteran that is even considering anything to do with home financing, period, whether they already own a home and maybe they could consolidate debts and streamline their financial picture, or they're not a homeowner, or they want to step up, no matter what it is, if they could use any advice from mortgage lenders, I would say we are the experts, and we will certainly give, I would say, the most high quality advice. So please lean on us. We'd love to help.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.